I'm not saying you shouldn't watch Wonder Woman 84 on HBO Max on Christmas Day, but if there was ever an argument for seeing a film on the big screen first for all its majesty, then Wonder Woman 84 is worth waiting to watch on a cinema screen. Of course, do whatever you guys feel safe doing, but I will say, this movie is a big screen movie. It's time to talk about Wonder Woman 84. Wonder Woman 84 is the latest entry in the DCEU and is the direct sequel to the 2017 smash hit Wonder Woman, which was directed by Patty Jenkins. Jenkins has returned once again to direct, as well as partially write the screenplay for Wonder Woman 84, along with co-writers Jeff Johns and Dave Callahan. Obviously from the title, the film is set in 1984, so before the events of Batman v Superman and Justice League. Wonder Woman, aka Diana Prince, played in this film by Gal Gadot, is currently living in Washington, D.C. She works at the Smithsonian, she identifies rare and mythical objects, but she's also being a superhero on the side, you know, just incognito. She doesn't want the world to know who she is, so she keeps her identity under wraps. One of the first things that struck me about this film, in one of the opening action scenes where Diana is stopping some jewelry robbers at this mall, is that the tone feels very different from its predecessor. Almost to the point where you wouldn't believe that it was directed by the same person who did the first film. This film looks and feels more vibrant, more lighthearted, and more goofy. Dare I say, more Marvel-esque. There's a bit where Wonder Woman slides this adorable little girl across the mall floor into this giant teddy bear and then winks at her. It's just so cute. But you can tell it's more cheesy and more playful than the first Wonder Woman film was. This film is having more fun than the first one. It kind of feels like the early Superman movies. Before the DCEU went all dark and gritty with the character, Superman was the clean-cut, optimistic superhero who believed in the goodness of mankind and kept his identity a secret. And in many ways, what Patty Jenkins is doing now with Diana Prince kind of feels like she's going back to a more gleeful and wholesome superhero, reminiscent of the Christopher Reeve Superman movies. And by doing so, she's injecting more life, joy, and fun into the DCEU. I had a really good time with Wonder Woman 84. There have been so few mega blockbusters this year that I'd kind of almost forgotten what it was like to feel that sense of awe and wonder whilst watching a movie, and Wonder Woman 84 reminded me of the necessity of the big screen experience, because this film is stuffed with so many awe-inspiring moments. To go into detail about those moments would spoil the movie for you guys, but there were about 3 or 4 times whilst I was watching this movie in the cinema where I thought to myself, I am so glad I am watching this on a cinema screen right now. Let's talk plot. Now, normally, a film which resorts to using a magical item which grants wishes, a literal plot device, would drive me crazy because firstly, it's lazy writing, and secondly, it provides a convenient get-out-of-jail-free card for any story errors. But Wonder Woman 84 has just enough self-awareness to get away with it, going as far as calling the citrine wish stone lame in the first scene that it's in. At least the writers acknowledge how BS the concept for this film is. When the citrine stone shows up at the Smithsonian, wallflower Barbara Minerva, played in this film by Kristen Wiig, is tasked with identifying it. What she first disregards as junk turns out to be a stone forged by the god of lies, which grants the holder one wish. Both Barbara and Diana unknowingly make wishes, not knowing its power. Barbara wishes to be more like Diana, strong, sensual, and special, and boy does it work like a magic charm. All it takes is a little eyeshadow and no glasses, and all of a sudden Kristen Wiig has the allure of a Miss Israel winner and the strength of an Amazonian demigod. And Diana wishes to be reunited with her one true love, Steve, which explains why Chris Pine is back for this sequel when his character previously died in the first film. Spoiler alert. Then there's Pedro Pascal, who plays our main villain, the sleazy, Trump-esque businessman Maxwell Lord, who steals the stone and manages to find a loophole to give himself as many wishes as he likes, The only problem is, after every wish that is granted, there's a price to be paid. It takes from the user the thing that they hold dearest, and this has devastating consequences for Diana, Barbara, Maxwell, and of course, the world. I can forgive the lazy wish narrative because it actually presents Diana with an impossible choice. I won't say what it is, but she's wrestling with her heart and her duty, and it's riveting emotional conflict for the character, and it gives Gal Gadot so much space to show off her range. She has so much more depth in this sequel than she did in the first film, and that's partly because of the really genuinely moving romance between her and Steve. This film has so much heart. I actually got a little bit emotional at one point. Oh, I also really loved Chris Pine returning as Steve, because when I saw him in the trailer, I was like, what are they doing? They gave his character such a great send-off, and yes, bringing him back through a wish is, again, a bit lame, but what he brings to the film is the heart, and he's also brings a lot of the joy as well, because he gets a lot of fish out of water comedy scenes, like getting all ecstatic riding an escalator or trying Pop-Tarts for the first time. It really is just a joy to watch, seeing it through his eyes. They have one of those changing montage scenes which pokes fun of 80s fashion, and that could have gotten old really quickly, but I found it quite charming because it adds to the whole playful, uncynical 80s tone. The big hair, the fashion, the production design, really everything about this screams 80s, although I do have a couple minor gripes. Firstly, Gal Gadot never really once looks like she's from the 80s. She looks very modern, like a woman would dress today. So yeah, no neon, no big hair, no 80s giveaway looks for her, sadly. Kristen Wiig, however, looks like the 80s threw up on her, and I am here for it. I also wish, see what I did there? That there was a little bit more 80s pop music in the soundtrack. I mean, Hans Zimmer's soundtrack is perfectly adequate, but there wasn't much pop in all the pop culture references in this film. I will say I really enjoyed the villains in this film as well. Pedro Pascal is as charismatic as always as Max. He had great motivations, a good backstory. It was nice to see a DC villain with some dimensions. And Kristen Wiig as Barbara Minerva, who eventually becomes Cheetah, was also really good in this as well. She starts off as this pitiful, dorky woman and then becomes this drunk on power apex predator. But that does bring me into another negative. The final act showdown between Wonder Woman and Cheetah is a little bit of a ugly CGI extravaganza. It kind of reminded me of the showdown between Halle Berry and Sharon Stone in the much derided Catwoman. So yeah, it's a little bit messy. It's definitely something that sticks out a little bit. And I will say the film does feel a little bit long. It clocks in at 2.5 hours, this film, and it definitely could have been trimmed a little. It never really feels like it's dragging, it just feels long is all. I do have some spoilery negatives, but I will discuss those after I've given my score out of 10. In the end, guys, Wonder Woman 84 is an awesome ride. It's a dazzling follow-up to the first film. I will say it does feel very different from the first film, but different in a good way. It's refreshing and exciting. It's got decent villains, lots of action, plenty of humor, a lovely message about telling the truth, and loads of schmaltzy, feel-good, goosebumpy moments which are meant to be seen on the big screen. So let's ask them 3 questions. Firstly, would I watch this again? Yes, 100%. I will be buying and owning a copy of Wonder Woman 84 and adding it to my collection. Question 2, do I recommend it for you guys? It's another yes again. Great escapism. It is a film which I would say, you know, the bigger the screen, the better. But if you do want to watch it on HBO Max on Christmas Day, then the whole family will have a good time with it. But if you do feel safe and you can see it on a cinema screen, go support cinemas, okay? They really need us right now. And third question, what score to give it out of 10? There are some issues with it, but it is supremely entertaining and very rewatchable. So I'm going to give Wonder Woman 84 a score of 8 out of 10. Right, I'm gonna talk spoilers now, so if you don't want anything ruined for you with this movie, now is your time to leave, okay? Right, so if you're sticking around, you want to talk spoilers. First of all, let's talk about a good spoiler, and that is that the film's mid-credits sequence, we had a juicy little cameo from someone playing Hysteria. It was Lynda Carter, aka the original Wonder Woman. How awesome was that? I had a little fangirl moment in the cinema. But what does it mean? Is she going to be in the next Wonder Woman movie? Is she going to be part of the DCEU? Or was it literally just a cheeky cameo? What do you guys think? Let me know in that comment section down below. Alright, now let's talk the negative spoilers. The main one being, what is the deal with the DCEU continuity? Because it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me that after this global event where Maxwell Lord broadcasts himself to the entire world and grants wishes to every Tom, Dick and Harry, that nobody has any recollection of this in Batman v Superman or Justice League. That doesn't add up to me, because you can see the destruction of all the wishes even after people have renounced the wishes. So there were consequences for all these wishes that remained after it was undone. Wonder Woman also learns to fly in this film, and my question is, because I've only seen Batman v Superman and Justice League once, is there any point in Batman v Superman or Justice League where Wonder Woman flies? I can't remember if she does, and if she can fly in the 80s, why doesn't she fly in those movies? I mean, maybe she does, but I don't know. If you do have answers, please let me know in that comment section down below. There's just a lot of continuity issues for me with the whole DCEU, but if you have any answers, please do let me know in the comment section below. But as always, thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys have enjoyed this video, please do help me out by hitting that like button. If you want more movie and TV content just like this, please consider hitting subscribe. And if you want to follow me on any social media, Twitter, Instagram, or Letterboxd, all those links in the video description down below. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching. For more things related to movies, TV, and popcorn culture, I'm Luke Carefield, and I'll see you next time.